So I rarely ever go back to these things, but I'll do it on an occasion. So I like to have them just in case. Let's see, can somebody say something? Make sure my volume's good.
Testing,
Hi.
testing. 1, 2,
Okay,
3,
cool.
testing.
Thank you. Got you.
Oh,
All
you
right.
see his shirt, guys? Yes, you got to stand up and let him
Oh.
see your shirt. What's his birthday present?
Oh my goodness.
That's one of them. Dave got that for me, and I said, I was actually on the phone with him earlier, and I was looking for it, and I forgot where I put it. And I said, oh, I remember. And I'm going through my shirts. I said, nope, that's not it. I said, oh, there's the picture of Dave. So and he just started giggling. He's a good dude. So, so I heard that Thanksgiving went well for the first point before we lost Jamie on the drop call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
It
your
went
take,
well. It was non-chaotic.
Awesome.
It was non-hectic.
Isn't that awesome?
You know? Yeah, it seems like the older I get, that's about. I mean, I love having a lot of people. I love entertaining, but when it's so the house is so filled and the conversation is so abundant, by the end of it, you are spent.
Yep. Our Thanksgiving was really crazy because of Tanya's son's situation with visitation and his kids.
I thought he was going to say because of Tanya's family.
No. We had the she had the family over Wednesday night for Thanksgiving, her kids and grandkids, because that's one of Jacob's nights, but that was my dad's birthday. So I was gone out with them, and then Thursday was our Thanksgiving, and of course Friday.
Wednesday. That's okay.
Yeah, my dad turned 75. I think I'm going to go see his birthday. So
yes.
And then of course Friday night the grandkids came back over and decorated our tree. So that's pretty much it.
Well, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so good deal for you guys. I'm glad to hear it went well and it was not chaotic or stressful.
Yes, when you say not chaotic, is because there wasn't a bunch of people there. Everybody was just kind of chilled out.
Yeah,
I would say both.
It was just Jamie, myself, my sister-in-law, and Hayden in the early part of the day. And for dinner, the stepson was at his dad's, and then my brother-in-law's, where they went to eat. Dinner was extremely late over there, so they didn't come till way later.
Cool.
Yep. So we just kind of did dessert and stuff, and I didn't worry about, dinner time. We just ate when we were hungry and put the stuff away, and they all had plates when they came, and yeah, it was nice and easy peasy.
Good. Now, were you all both off like Friday and the weekend, or did you have to jump right back into work?
Right back to work.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, and I know that Lonnie's done with his Christmas shopping already, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are,
typically I am, because when I give gifts, they're always heartfelt. Like I make sure it's something that the person really would love to get. So as I see it all year long, or maybe even the year before, I get it then.
That's cool.
I don't ever thrift shop. I see it and I know that person will really love it. I get it. And I'm usually done, but this year, not so much.
I say every year.
I'm far behind.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
How about you guys?
I'm about 30% done.
30%. I would say I'm about 20% at this point.
Well, for adult kids, we like to do date night type stuff, give them gift certificates to do something on a date night. So
that's what I think is really fun too, because stuff is like everybody has the stuff they need mostly,
Yeah.
I love giving that gift too, and then I get to babysit their kids and an awesome time with the kids while they go out on a date.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Of
course, they're here, a few times, because Jacob's kids, like I said, their visitations are 3 and 4 times a week, and then got another 2, and then we've got 4 of my kids. I don't see his kids very much, but anyway. So let's review last week really fast, and then we'll move on. Last week, like I said, Thursday morning, I guess I should say, was one of those odd. It felt like it went off the rails, but it was a really good off the rails. Get some background, some baseline stuff out there, so we kind of know what we're dealing with. And after I thought about it, and I was like, I thought it went really well for it not to be a typical session where we are more formatted. But and as you can tell, I get pretty passionate about this stuff. And I was talking to Jamie about it when Lonnie said that somebody told him to be a friend to the kid he's raising. I just about blew up because that is so out of order, out of the box, not good. That's not good. I get fired up about that stuff. So if I'm wrong about something, or if there's something that's debatable, I will listen, and I still might draw my own conclusion. But when I know for an absolute fact something's wrong, I do get pretty fired up. So that's you got to see it firsthand. So then I told you guys, like I said, we went through a lot of stuff Thursday. We're going to start narrowing it down today. But then I told you guys to go through Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Did you guys end up doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
now,
we did.
All right. Now, Jamie, I'm going to start with Lonnie and ask you what you got out of that.
I almost have to refresh my memory because we had a incident with Hayden. Since then, that was extremely eye-opening to what you said before we parted ways about disorder. And so we haven't had much sleep in the past couple of days, but okay. I remember it was essentially about
you want me to say the verse, honey, just so you can think about what we thought about?
No, I remember it.
Okay.
Figure thank you though. Figuratively, or I feel like the Bible speaks in like what I call poetic manner. And basically it was saying that one man may overtake another man, but if 2 men are together, they can prevail. And then the last part that you said, the last sentence that you wanted us to
diagnose or
analyze.
I perceived
it was if those 2 could if they could prevail, but in a biblical way, and kind of bring that person on, then now there are 3. And if you compare that to your home or your house, instead of fighting with each other, if you could educate the other person that is causing a disruptance, then the house is overall strong.
Okay.
That's kind of like how I interpret it towards our situation, but I think overall that's what it meant.
Okay. That's an interesting take, and I can see that would be for you, Lonnie, and you'll hear me say it. You've already heard me say it, the Rhema word. That was what it came to you specifically. So that's Rhema word. So now, Jamie, you go ahead.
We really talked about it together, and we had a similar view about it. I just felt like if Lonnie and I can powerhouse this family, we will be better in many ways in our faith and our spirit, and kind of, bring us all together. And we all need to come together and study the Bible more. And we need to lead our kids in doing that. And we decided that one of the major decisions we made, and we did immediately start implementing, was just that whatever we feel like we might disagree about with parenting, whatever we feel we might disagree about with anything really, we're going to literally dive into the Bible and have the Bible give us the answer that we need.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That gave me chills. So let me give you the core meaning of that verse. And this is not saying you're wrong, because like I said, Rhema word is how it comes across to you. As long as it lines up with scripture, then you're good. That's when you know it's Rhema word, because God can speak to you specifically about something. But you always measure it against the word. So like what Lonnie said regarding you two joining together, you can help lead Hayden, and you guys can, kind of grow a formidable bond. That's really good. That's Rhema word. The core meaning of that is you're talking about two people. Two are better than one. You've got Lonnie and Jamie together are better than one, which is important when you look at the scriptures we checked out last week about no space. Well, if there's space, how can you come together and make two better than one? You're really not two making one. You're two separate people. Not working in unison. That's when things start to fall apart. And that's one reason I brought that scripture out last week. But when it gets down there and it says a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken, that third strand will be Jesus. That's what it's talking about. So you got Lonnie, you got Jamie. If you look at how that whole thing flows, if one falls down, the other's there to help them get up. If one's cold, there's someone else there to warm you up. A cord of 2 are better than 1, and a cord of 3 strands. What? I've done math before, but it's just like it was almost out of the blue. The cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. That's right. When you've got Christ as your foundation, it is not easy to break that. But notice it can be broken. And tonight in the workshop, there is a little bit of a tidbit on that I just thought about. So anyway, that's good. I'm glad you guys did that. I really am. That's just a little more emphasis on the number 2. When you think about Jesus sending out disciples, he sent out all 12 of them to different regions. How many did he send together? 2. Wouldn't it make sense? If you're going to cover a large territory, if you send out 12 disciples, you can send out them one by one to cover 12 different territories, but he sent them out 2 by 2. Cord of 3 strands is not easily broken, but 2 are better than 1. It's a beautiful thing. So that's great stuff. So now let's see if we can do the format. What are we talking about tonight? Like, what's the main topic?
What do you want to talk about tonight, Lonnie?
Well, I would like to talk about, I don't remember the examples you gave. Do we have to go specifically off the examples that you gave?
No, this is your session. You tell me what you all want to talk about.
Okay. I would like to go off of basically, because like I said, we went through a situation with Hayden, and I held my composure mostly throughout. I did get a little upset. I didn't turn into the person I normally do.
Good.
But, I guess I would need your assistance in telling me what it is that I would like to know. If I just explain to you, biblically, if I explain to you what I felt like I struggled with there.
Okay.
I literally struggled with, I guess the main issue we had in that situation, and Jamie and I trying to stick together and trying to come up with a compromise and actually talk with Hayden, because he was talking for the first time, but what he was doing was literally trying to manipulate the conversation in a way that no matter what we suggested, no matter what we tried to implement structure, and he was trying to tear down the structure by literally saying absolutely not to everything, and a long drawn out reasons why, and excuses why.
Okay, so let's stop right there really quick. That's a summary of what we're going to talk about. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to dig down into the story. I'm going to get what you guys did. We're going to go through it in depth. So what is the goal you want to set up by the end of our session today? What do you want to have when we're done?
I personally would like to know how to communicate with a person in general. I guess more so someone in a role that is supposed to be taught by me
Mhm.
more so, someone who I'm supposed to set the best example for
Okay.
and still have a good outcome of them respecting me in the long run, and we're not at odds
Okay. All right.
when the difficulty is getting the word across to them because they're blocking their mind from hearing you, period.
Sure. Sure. Tanya, are you jotting this down for me?
No, because I walked in the door as soon as it was time to start, so I didn't have time to do that. Do I need to go get
Okay.
paper?
Well, that'd be great if you could. If you're
I'm living
busy,
on
I'll
a
check the
prayer here
notes.
with a Red Bull, so hold, okay, you all keep talking. I'll go.
I could take the notes if you want me to.
Nope, you go ahead. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
It's just easier for me to focus when I'm not typing. So we're going to talk about the scenario with Hayden. Your goal by the time we're done is to figure out how to communicate better and handle a very difficult situation. Does that sound about accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Now, once we get to the end of digging down into this, we'll start coming up with some ideas. And so I want to let you start talking, Lonnie and Jamie. You can jump in when you're comfortable doing that. And Lonnie sounds ready to roll, if you ask me.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Just so I can write that down.
Okay. So the topic is, we're going to talk about, basically it's going to be communication, effective communication with someone who's being somewhat obtuse or manipulative might be a better word. And the goal is going to be how to do that better the next time. And I'm proud of you, Lonnie, for holding your cool, like you said, and Jamie even stepped up and agreed with you.
Yeah, it was extremely difficult because instead of having silence and just complete utter, I would say, ignorance, meaning shrugging of the shoulders and looking up at the sky and just ignoring me. It was more like he wanted to give conversation, but he was throwing blame where instead of taking responsibility, he was being sarcastic. He was, so those kinds of things are extreme triggers for me. If it was a stranger or another adult, I would just walk away from the situation. In this situation, walking away is not the answer at all. And I know that to the core.
And that was all disrespect towards you as the authority figure.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. I've been there.
Which I did get a lot of help from Jamie. She literally, jumped in and said, speak to your uncle, don't, speak at him and stuff like that, in the adverse of usually, or up until now, it's been kind of like a spectator sport. He does something, irritates me, no one says something, I stand up, speak to him, even though I've been warned not to, and then however he retaliates or however he talks back, whether it be with just body language or walking away or whatever, or says something disrespectful, everyone stands there and waits to see what is Lonnie going to do.
Well, let me ask you this then, Lonnie. I want to emphasize something. You said this was a little different for Jamie, that she actually jumped in and kind of teamed up with you. How'd that feel?
That felt great, and it also felt rewarding because it felt like going through the Bible and reading those passages, searching for them, doing the homework, so to speak, and actually implementing that gave me more directive on my role in our marriage and how we operate as man and woman in a marriage.
Awesome. Jamie, how about you? What do you think about that? I'll deal.
I gotta say, I have to give Lonnie, I can't even say major props because that's not enough. I'm so elated. It could make me cry right now. I'm so excited for this path because he didn't fight not one thing. Once he read what he needed to read in the Bible and saw it for himself and let that sink in, and really, he was so humble and just really wanted to trust, the process that you're giving us. And he immediately was just like, okay, so, moving out is not an option. And at all. And so that was a gigantic relief for me. And then he continued on with saying, you know, he's like, it's a little frustrating because when I read my role, I do see that even God is limiting my control. Even God is like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Ronnie is like,
And mind you, I don't use the word control. She does.
no, no, yeah. But I feel like, you know, it's important to just say he was so like, he kind of laughed and just said, well, here we go, because it's going to take God to, you know, take that like man out of me, you know, I don't see it happening any other way. So he's like, he was very adamant that he definitely wants to dive into the word. And that made me also feel like, okay, yes, we're going to do this. And I'm so excited. Finally, you know, like we're really, really going to take this on in stride and give 100% both of us at the same time. And I just truly feel so hopeful that the sky is the limit, that we are going to be fine. We're going to be better than fine. I think our family is going to be fine, but we just have to lean into God. And of course, there's going to be obstacles. And it showed its really ugly head immediately,
Of course.
literally the
Of
next
course.
day.
Of
We
course.
had this huge thing with Hayden immediately. And I was so scared because I'm at work. And I'm like, oh gosh, is Lonnie going to, you know, fly off the handles? It's going to be like a big thing. But he didn't. He didn't yell. He didn't, you know, so that made me feel like, wow, he's really, really trying. And I want to support him 100%. So
That feels pretty
that's what I
good,
did.
doesn't it, Lonnie?
Yes. It feels really good on my part, you know, to finally, because like I said, I've never been married, I've never had my own child, and you fast forward to now already in the role, and the role has pretty much been given to me like the president. I have a script, you know, and now it almost feels like I'm actually part of it in a whole, not just, you know, just hold the title.
Yep.
And with my whole thing that I told you about trust and not trusting anyone, I mean, I trust my wife, you know, with everything. But when it comes down to another person, and I feel like, you know, I'm a team with that person and I have to put in a certain amount of work, you know, that takes a lot of study and a lot of understanding, especially when I have to lead. I did talk with Jamie after we read those verses that you gave us, and everything started to sink into me. My words to her were, hopefully, or I basically asked her to please, you know, give just as much effort in this, because the person that I am, I go through all those works and all those things and try and give it a you know, a honest 200% of me, my all, and then I still end up falling short because I keep going through the same things with other people. You know, you can't control a situation by yourself when others are involved. And that's where I struggle in life in general. I don't care if it's a job, a sport, or whatever. If I'm giving everything and I'm trying to work with everyone and it's a team effort, and I have to, so to speak, you know, make their checks also at work, that really irritates me to the point where it really emotionally it takes a huge toll.
Okay.
And I've
Well,
already got the experience in this. So you know, I did talk to her because I do have fears. I have seen
sure.
how things go, you know, and
Yeah. Well, man, that's awesome. And you know, I want to jump into this Hayden situation so we don't run out of time. But there are
okay.
two things I want to address really fast. And this is just, I do this because it's easily overlooked. And I'm just going to ask you, Lonnie, for a 30-second response. When you held your cool, when you stood your ground but held your cool and didn't react, as I guess you would say is normal, if I understood you correctly, what did that mean to you, just as Lonnie?
It felt like I was equipped with what I've always wanted, which
Okay.
was the ability to to handle a situation within my family without getting to a point where I get upset, and realizing that only I can stop that.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
makes me
guess
so
that's
proud
just
of you, Ronnie.
basically it.
Did you hear your
Yeah,
wife?
Yes.
yeah, that does. It makes me so proud of you that, you know, you are taking responsibility for that emotional regulation, that only you can do that. And not and I feel like I could see the gears working in him when Hayden was trying to push his buttons. It was literally like watching him go, okay, this kid is 14 years old and I am not going to allow him to bring me there. I am not going to allow that to happen. And he really did it, so it's huge. It's huge, 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 especially so quickly after just a couple sessions with you guys. I feel like as long as we keep doing what you tell us to do and keep really putting our energy into what would God want us to do, and then we're going to keep on seeing these great changes.
That's awesome. And Lonnie, I think I understood Jamie when she was talking about God's the only one that can get that, man part out of you so you could be who you're called to be. And I say this, I'm thinking I understood her correctly, but when you say get that man part, you mean the macho part? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, because Lonnie
Okay.
and I, he says it's not pride. But we kind of just we don't really know what to call it, right? Like
Okay.
the stubborn,
Okay, yeah.
like he feels that he's warranted in being angry. So I am going to be angry and you're going to know it and you're going to hear it.
Okay.
Now he's starting to feel like, okay, maybe it's not necessarily that important that I get angry.
Yeah. Okay. 2 quick things. Lonnie, if you want to be macho strong, godly strong comes first. You want to be macho strong. You cannot be macho strong without being godly strong. And here's exactly why. Because being godly strong, it takes someone incredibly strong to say, I need to humble myself. It takes someone incredibly strong to say, I need some help in developing who God's called me to be. It takes someone strong to say I'm weak. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anybody could be macho strong. Even I could almost pull it off. Okay, my 5'9", 150-pound frame. But if you're wanting to be the man, we do it God's way. That macho strong stuff, it's for the birds. It's nothing but a camouflage and a put on to be something that really God's not asking us to be. He's asking us to be godly strong, which is exactly why the title of my husband's devotional is Godly Strong. Because
I like that.
It was, and we're going to get to Hayden immediately after this. It was inspired when I was dating Tanya, and she married this quote unquote Christian man that was arrested for domestic violence, always running around the house, pounding his chest, saying, I'm the head of the house. You do what I say. And I said, that's not what that means. And he was that macho strong, but he doesn't understand the first thing about godly strong. And I came up with the forget being macho strong. Let's be godly strong. So it takes an incredibly strong man to do what you did, Lonnie. So step one accomplished, mission accomplished. So way to go, dude.
Thank you.
Way to go, dude. All right. Now and by the way, I know I emailed Jamie. I hope she sent you the message, Lonnie. I sent you guys an email as well, but happy anniversary.
Thank you.
I did get that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope you guys had a great day. Other than the Hayden incident.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Hayden show.
Yeah.
It kind of did consume our day. That's kind of, where our day went, was with that.
Okay. Well, you know what? You can still celebrate another day.
Exactly.
That's true. And we're going to, because the whole situation dynamics in our home, every plan that I had, like usual, gets foiled. So
okay.
And I am a romantic guy that is also, even though I'm that manly strong guy up until this point, I'm still romantic.
All right, I love it. The scriptures tell us to be like that. I bet you didn't know that, did you?
No, I
You
didn't
you
get that part.
you stick around with me for a while, you'll learn all this stuff, man. It's in there. People just overlook it. And by the
Yeah.
way, anger is not a sin.
No, it's not.
You're allowed to be angry. It's what you do with the anger and your motivation behind the anger. I mean, we saw Jesus throw over tables.
Well, I hope so, because it's not my nature, or my first approach, or even my second or third.
Good.
It
Slow to
just
anger.
it just comes on. So if it's something that just comes on, I don't see how it could be something that is, you know, I guess if you're the type of person that's your first approach and you're just that way all the time, I could see
Yeah.
where people would
Yeah.
have a major problem with that.
Yep. Well, that's another topic to dissect at another time. I just want to let you know that it's okay to be angry, especially when there's wrongdoing. Being angry for the sake of being angry, that's not good. So, all right, let's go with this Hayden deal. That's what we want to talk about, right? And work on this communication.
Yes.
All right, let's roll. So, this happened Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm going to shut my alarm system down. It keeps talking to me. Everything talks to me in
Okay.
this house.
That's not a bad thing, coming from my shoes.
Sorry, Jacob came in, so
It's okay.
I was like, I let the dog out the front
Okay.
and he's coming in the back door.
Okay. So we're going to have about 20 to 25 minutes to dissect this whole story. So let me start off. This was Friday. Oops. I'm trying to make sure we're on good time. Yeah.
So,
We got about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Okay. So this was Friday morning, correct?
Yes, it was.
All right. So let's just start from the top and kind of.
did you hear what I said, John? Lonnie's at work.
Lonnie's at work.
His stuff, so Jamie may have to explain this to you while he's doing his stuff.
I didn't get it until I got to Oswego.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you another time. All right.
Oh yeah,
Sorry
it
about
doesn't.
that.
Oh, you're fine. It doesn't matter who tells the story.
Say that again.
I said I don't care who tells the story. I was just wanting to dig down into this Hayden
Okay.
situation.
All right, boss. Have a good one.
Thank you. Good
Again, I'm
night.
sorry. I had to take care of a situation.
I'm sorry. I thought you were hanging up on me. I was about to leave.
No, I was hearing everything you were saying. I apologize. It was just a last minute work request on my way back. They wanted me to do something. So
Yeah, no apologies necessary, buddy.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. All right. So let's hear what happened. And I'm going to interrupt a lot and ask questions. So let's start from the top and tell me where the trigger started.
Okay, who's telling this? That's the part I did miss.
Doesn't matter.
Whoever you want, honey. I don't care.
Well, I could tell you the incident on Friday because I was the one that was here.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to summarize it as quickly as possible. Hayden had a friend over, and which, by the way, just invited over and tried to invite another one, even though, he didn't consult us, again, as usual.
Okay, so as usual, meaning he does this a lot without talking to you guys?
Oh, yeah, he makes plans
Yeah,
with everyone,
right.
and then kids just show up and walk right in our house, and we had no idea.
Okay.
Or his mother tells him it's okay, which I may have the details wrong. His mother left now again to go spend time with a boyfriend that she just met. Those are all extra details that are not needed. And promised him so many things before she left. One of them being she was going to take him to the mall, one of the largest malls in the world, and on Black Friday of all things, because she has Jamie's car. But with our work schedules, that wasn't going to be possible. Jamie and I knew that, but we didn't find out until Hayden said something to us. So Jamie gets on the phone and starts fixing that. So Hayden's all upset because now he's not going to be able to do that. So his mother quickly compensates and says, well, can you guys do something with him? Since I did tell him, but I got all this going on over here, plans she made for a long getaway on our anniversary, nonetheless. So we compromised and said, if it's possible, when Aunt Jamie gets out of work, we will take you to Oswego, which is up the street from here, not in the inner city near the hood, to go to the mall on Black Friday where people are being shot constantly. He was not happy about it, but he agreed. Well, those plans got changed because of his actions, and these
Okay.
were his actions.
Okay.
I was home. He said his mother told him that she was going to give him money to go to the corner store. She never left it there, so his friend and him could get some snacks. I thought about it thoroughly on how to do it because we've been through issues with Hayden taking way more money than he should or whatever. So I said, I know what I'll do. Instead of giving him cash, which I only had one large bill in my wallet because I always use my card, I said, I got to go across the street to the mechanics, which is literally right across the street. When you guys are dressed and ready to go, meet me over there and I'll give you the money. Okay. I go over there and I decided when they showed up, I was going to give them my debit card, tell them to go there and use it as credit, buy your snacks, and I want a receipt. Okay. My thinking was he'd go there, however many items he bought would reflect on the receipt. And if he made more than one purchase and purchased something that he shouldn't, since they sell things in there that kids shouldn't have, like vapes and, stuff like that, then I would see it reflected on my bank app and I would know immediately. So he goes to the store, buys, let's just say 6 items, comes back to the shop, shows me the 6 items. I look at the receipt, 6 items, said, okay, check my app. Everything was good. Gave me my card back. I watched him go to the store and I watched him come from the store. Meanwhile, at the store, he called a person to bring him weed, like DoorDash. Somebody pulls up, meets him there. I didn't see it because the obstacles in the way. He makes a deal and I didn't know anything. They go to the house, which is right across the street. I watched them go to the house. I was there at the mechanics for another 10 minutes. I head to the house. I'm coming up the driveway and I smell either a skunk that got ran over in my backyard or weed. I get in the house and the house is filled with it. I go up to his room. You can't even see in his room.
And this is
And
your
both
house.
of them, my house, which I have specifically asked over and over again, Hayden, do not bring that stuff to my house. Do not do drugs or drink or do any of that in my house.
Okay, I'm going to stop you
I
really
don't want
quick.
you doing it at all, but don't do it in my house.
Yeah, let me stop you really quick. I mean, I already have 1,000 questions, but what you just said is the red flag for me, so I want you to clear it up. I've asked him over and over and over, which means he's a repeat offender over and over and over, correct?
Correct.
What's his consequence?
I'm not the consequence giver, so this is where Jamie has to come in.
All right, Jamie, what's his consequence for constantly disrespecting and disobeying?
Okay, so Hayden is pretty much grounded more than he's not grounded. And this is where, it's just been such a struggle for us because we could take all of his privileges away. I mean, get 0 screen time for months at a time, and he will either sneak into our room and get his.
Come in.
Sorry.
Did you guys fall asleep and set an alarm? Am I that boring? Wake up before we get going because I don't want him to know that I'm sleeping.
We are in the last couple of years, especially, I've gotten very consistent, if Hayden knows, if he gets in trouble, he knows I'm going to stick to it and he'll beg and plead and Aunt Jane, please don't ground me, please, and he loses his mind and he loses his privileges or whatever the case may be. So probably a couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we realized that he had smoked weed. And so then I literally grounded him from everything until he tested negative for marijuana. I jumped on Amazon and bought drug testing and just sat down and told him, like, I know it seems extreme that we're going to drug test you, bud, but we can't trust what you're telling us is true. So we have to do the only thing that is going to foolproof this whole situation. And if you stay clean, quote unquote, if you don't smoke, if you're not doing I even got the nicotine ones because he's been vaping like tobacco too. So when he tested negative, we let him have his stuff back.
Okay.
And then we agreed that I was going to randomly test him again, which I did do. He was negative again. So that was all good. And then this situation happened.
Okay.
So
Now, and
that's the only times that he's done those. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I asked because I go back to the very beginning of what Lonnie said, and I'm trying to get a grasp on this, but there's even in this little bit, there's so much to peel away.
Right.
At the very beginning, okay, his mom is still trying to parent him to an extent.
Yeah, she
Correct.
is involved in the parenting, but she knows that me and Lonnie have the final say, quote unquote, like she definitely, that's a thing.
Here's where the problem I see right off the bat is that he's able to kind of play both ends against the middle type of deal. Yeah. What mom said, well, who's raising the kid? Is it Lonnie? Is it Jamie? Is it his mom? Who is it? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians type of deal. Right. That's out of order. That's chaos. That's instability, and you're witnessing it firsthand. Okay, so that's first.
That's a fraction of the first thing.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion.
That is true. And we did have a conversation with Hayden when I came home that night, and we told him just that. Listen, we understand that your mom is here. We love her. You love her. Nothing, we're not saying anything negative, but you need to ask us. We are your disciplinarians, your parents, as far as those things are concerned.
Okay. All right.
We are the ones with the vehicles. We are the ones that decide these things. We are the ones that have been parenting you since you were, for me, since he was 2, with Lonnie, since you were 4. That's not changing. And we have said this already. So next time you ask your mom and she says yes, and you just think you can do what you want, you're going to have a consequence like you didn't ask at all.
Okay.
So he knows that that's going to be the case now. So,
all right. Well, a couple.
Go ahead. Can I interject?
Yes,
for 1
sir.
second?
Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry to stop you.
No, you're good.
The one thing that I do want to say is and I rarely do this, but in Hayden's defense, as far as discipline goes, there are numerous things that are issues. One is what Jamie just said. The mother will make plans with him, promise him things, because that's her only way to communicate and to have a good relationship with her son, is to say, I'll give you. And it's monetarily, or it's something, an item. It's not motherly love. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to discipline, she really didn't want us doing it. She wanted to take over. And Jamie was like, I'll stand by and let you be his mom because that's what he's requesting, but you have to follow through. Never follows through. Whenever Jamie steps in, then she argues with Jamie, and it becomes a situation.
There's
where
your problem.
He escapes out, and they're discussing what should be done, and his mom's like, no, I don't think he should. I don't think he should. Then you also have Aunt Jamie, who I explained is the nurturer, who a lot of times will always come up with some reason why, no, we can't really throw a consequence because we have to do this first because his counselor said so. And I'm saying, well, those are the same counselors that are only following the book and saying, if Hayden doesn't want it, Hayden doesn't have to do it.
Yep.
So of course they're going to agree with that.
Yep. I agree with that. As a matter of fact, again, red flags everywhere, man. Everywhere. That doesn't follow through. Well, now what Hayden knows is empty promises or empty threats. He doesn't take her serious at all.
No, he doesn't. Not at all.
Number 2, give. I think Lonnie nailed it. That is not motherly love. That's a friend. That's somebody
Exactly.
who does whatever you got to do to make sure they're still your friend. That's not being a parent. That's being an enabler, is what that's being. So I'm going to suggest something right now before we go further, because I don't want to lose this.
Okay.
Are you guys, do you have a good enough relationship with his mother where you guys can have a private meeting, or have you even done that before already?
We've had
Yes,
plenty,
we
but
have.
in my opinion, I think Misty she's not mentally equipped. She's still basically she's basically the person she was mentally, age wise,
Okay.
developmentally. I mean,
Okay.
before she started doing drugs now.
Okay. Let me ask it like
Right. So
this.
she's a
What,
teenager in her own mind.
okay. What would it be like? I'm going to throw out a hypothetical. If you brought Misty into the room, and of course you can express how much you love Hayden and all that, and you want the best for him, what would it look like, hypothetically, if you said, Misty, before you make any plans with Hayden, would you mind please coming to us so we can all discuss it together, so we're all on the same page, so that Hayden's not upset because he didn't get what you promised because it conflicted with us, and maybe put it out there like that? How do you think she would respond to that?
Been there, done that.
Okay.
But she doesn't actually do it.
Okay. So she says she will, then she doesn't.
Right.
She's basically Hayden in a grown person's body.
She
So
literally, yeah.
she
Okay.
keeps repeating the same things over and over and over again. We tell her don't do it, she does it anyway, and then says, well, come on, you got to understand, I haven't been in his life in so long, and so, you know, I feel bad.
Oh, the guilt syndrome.
Yeah, there goes
That's
a
what we
feelings
get.
thing.
Yep.
Man, what a
I
stick.
hate to make this hard for you.
Hey, no, dude. No, dude. Well, we've got to come up with some way, and it might take, honestly, me to really just kind of meditate on it for a few days, how to handle someone who is his mother,
Right.
yet not his mother,
Correct.
yet has someone who's parenting him, yet interferes, which
And it's
puts
really
you in a tough
confusing.
situation because she's the mother, although she's not being a mother. Huh, I'm done. I quit this whole coaching thing. I am out of here. No, I'm joking.
Very confusing for Hayden. It has to be, because
Yes.
how does it messes with his psyche, and I'm sure there's, we don't even
That's
know
my
the whole,
point.
we don't know the whole
Can-
backstory. We may not remember what happened when he was
Okay.
little, but
Right.
a whole
Can I make
backstory
a
to that.
suggestion?
Yeah, I have another one, but please do, Lonnie. Tanya, I did not mean to interrupt you, but
I didn't
another.
mean to interrupt you either.
That's all right. A thought came to me. So I'm going to jot
My
it down.
suggestion is what I've said all along. I honestly feel like Hayden has respect for Jamie in the fact that when she does get upset, okay, because it's always the true test. When she does get upset and actually implements a discipline and she sticks to it,
Mhm.
he has respect for her in the long run. Anybody else who
Okay.
has no respect, he will treat
Jot
him
it
like
down,
crap.
Tanya.
My suggestion all along has been, whether I have anything to do with, because for me and Jamie, her biggest issue is me even stating what his punishment should be, period.
Come on.
You know,
Come
and
on.
my punishment is usually things that are going to lead to him learning from his mistake. It's not physical, it's not mentally disturbing, it's not any of that. If he wants to cheat his punishments and he wants to do all that, put him at the table with nothing and make him sit there. Because if he's out of your sight, you might as well consider he's doing what he wants to do. Or examples like that. I really feel like Jamie should be the one to basically deliver what his punishment is going to be, but discuss it with her, and I discuss it if she wants me to be part of it. Like,
Of course
we're
I do.
talking about
Yes.
moving forward.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we discuss it. We also, behind the curtains, have a talk with Misty and tell her, your parenting part is done. You were never his parent. You haven't done it thus far, given the reins. You'll be his friend. Just don't, in your friendship, allow him to disrespect you, nor just give him things that rewards for bad behavior.
Right.
And spend time with him. Don't just skip out when the time gets hard and just leave him constantly, because he is suffering from abandonment issues. And the counselors told you that. And that's the first thing you do, which causes him to, literally go out and buy. I'm not saying it's her fault, but I'm saying it's awfully ironic how, bam, she did this. He was depressed. He was upset, got a friend to come over. Boom. Went and bought weed, came to the house, smoked, knowing good and well I'm gonna walk through the door and smell it.
Okay.
And I feel like Jamie and I should, after letting Misty know what she can do and what she can't do, as far as that goes, something happens, her and I go to the Bible, read about it, equip ourselves. We decide, or she says, well, what about this? And I say, well, I think that's not going to, we've been doing that. We need a different approach, whatever. Go to the drawing board, come up with something we both agree on. She deliver it. And I just make sure that if I say to Jamie, hey, you just said this was going to happen. This is what the consequence was. It's kind of early for him to be doing this, don't you think? Okay, well, he just invited his friends over. What am I supposed to do now? I don't want to just go out there and embarrass him. And I'm like, no, if his embarrassment is his embarrassment, you tell him, we told you, you don't have any friends, you're grounded. We're calling their parents and we're bringing them home. End of discussion.
I think that's very reasonable.
Yep.
That's been my suggestion all along. And I'm not trying to get revenge here or say it's never been listened to. I'm just saying it's high time to start doing something like that.
Okay. Now it's odd that you say that, Lonnie, because that was my suggestion. But here's in my mind and in my own experience and watching from personal practice, from raising my own kids, from working with whatever situation I'm in, it is critically important to tell them, and I know you guys have done this, but I'm emphasizing it. Here's what's going to happen if you do it.
Okay.
And then when they do it, if you don't follow through, you're now the goat. They've got the power because they just did what they wanted to do with no consequence. Who's the parent here? If you flat out say, Hayden, look, we love you, buddy. We want you to have a great life. But we're going to have to put up some, we'll say as adults, boundaries. He might not understand that. We're going to have to put up some rules that I think's fair. We're the adults. We run the house. If you want people to come over, come and talk to us. We'll work together. We want you to have a good life. But if you do it without talking and you show up with a bunch of friends, we're going to take them home immediately. So if it happens, whose responsibility is it? It would be yours because you know what's going to happen.
Yes.
If the law is laid down from the get-go, there's no one to blame but Hayden. You guys, I'm not saying this to be rude. You guys know I'm telling you this because I care enough. But you guys have allowed him, and some of it's not even your own fault, but he's got way too much power.
Yes.
Way too much power.
That's a quick question. How long has Misty been living there?
2 years. July was 2 years.
Did he get worse when she moved in, or has he always been like this?
You know what? It's very hard to tell if that he's always been this way, but because he is getting older, the things that he's doing are obviously a bigger problem, right? Like when he was younger, it was not little stuff. He was still defiant. He was still disrespectful. He still did things that were not age appropriate for him and everything. But, I mean, the smoking weed, talking about sex, looking at porn, stuff like that. Obviously, it's the age that's different, right? So, I mean, I don't feel, Lonnie, do you feel that he has escalated with his mother here?
I wouldn't say his acts has escalated. What I would say is they've matured. And what I mean
Exactly.
by that is they are things that an older kid would do. But
Right.
Hayden has always been a mature kid as far as his actions. I mean, at when he was little, he used to tell everyone, no, I'm going to do it. I will do it for myself. He's very, I don't want you helping
Independent.
me. I don't want you seeing me get dressed. I
Yes.
don't want, he's got to lock the door. He's
Yeah.
just extremely quirky. But
I'll,
I would say that since his mother has been there, he has completely stopped talking to me, especially, and literally stopped going to Jamie for anything unless his mom's not here. If his mother's here, it has been instilled in him that she's the person he goes to for favors. She's the
right. With
person
her
that,
faith,
makes the decisions on what he can do and what he can't do. And
yeah, it's been a tough transition for both of us because since his mom came here, we're kind of chopped liver, right? Like he loves his mama, he is very attached to her. My mom is here now. I don't need you guys in that parental sense anymore. And that is very, very confusing for him.
Yep.
And I really can understand how he feels with that. So we've given him a lot of grace and understanding with that. But I will say that my sister's been very upset that the couple of times Hayden was feeling upset about something, or when he came to tell someone that he did take all those pills and he was thinking that he might die, and we ended up, going through all that, he did not go right across the hall to his mom's room. He came downstairs and knocked on our door and came and told me. And that really upset my
You are playing the mom role, and it sounds like Misty is playing the buddy friend role because he doesn't know how to see her as a mom.
Right.
He doesn't, and that's absolutely true.
He
Yep.
knows that Jamie is the mom role, and so the roles right now are a little misconstrued and all that. But anyway,
Well,
I was just curious.
Yeah, well, those were, I mean, Tanya's, I love it when she's with me. She gives another aspect of things, like, she talked about his psyche, and we've talked about that. And then we talk about disorder. This is, I mean, it doesn't matter. And here's the challenge for you guys. This is why it's incredibly important to have those three strands rock solid together and tied up, because the problem that you guys have is that it doesn't matter how great you guys are to Hayden. There is nothing that can fulfill a child's part at that age. Like
his mother.
Right. We're built like, okay, an example, Dave and Beverly, you guys met them in the workshop.
Yes.
They adopted a little girl. Not they, it was Dave and his ex-wife, but Katie is Dave's daughter. She turns 18, and what's she do? I want to know who my real mom is.
Yeah.
Right?
Very
So
hard.
it's very difficult. So you guys, I don't envy your position having to try to raise discipline and be the leaders of a young man that has abandonment issues, obviously has no boundary set, and has a mom who's too busy trying to be a friend and not,
Right.
because kids, everybody takes the least resistant path.
Absolutely. We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where he goes when he wants something, because he knows with you guys it might be a little tougher. There's the dilemma. And now I'm going to ask this: what's the reason Misty lives there?
the reason my sister-in-law lives here is because my wife is an extreme. Well, first of all, let me start with this. After asking me and all that stuff, just like when Hayden's dad lived there, and later Misty's boyfriend came, and we talked about the role, how men are, and we love our wives, so we do things that make them happy. I'm the one that ultimately said yes.
Okay.
Jamie, for one time when it came to her sister, was like, you make the decision. But then again, that was like hiking the football to me and telling me to go score with it.
And that's really not,
she's
that wasn't
here
my
because
intention.
my sister, no, it wasn't her intention, but her sister got out of rehab, got out of jail, went to rehab, actually stuck with it, and has actually turned her whole life as a drug addict around to a recovered addict.
Okay.
My wife pretty much has been the mom to everyone, including her own mother and father. And she knows them inside and out. And every one of them look to her for everything. So her knowing them so well, she knows that if Misty didn't have somewhere to go, didn't have someone urging her lovingly to actually go forth and getting her license. She's been with us almost 2 years and she just got it. Meanwhile, she just actually passed her test, her written test, and then finally did her 5-hour course and then got her license just last week. But she's trying to make sure that this is what she interpreted to me, is that she wants to make sure that her sister does not go back, because she was so far into drugs and the type of drug that if she does it again, she's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so
okay,
that's my interpretation of
okay,
it.
that's commendable. Does that sound accurate, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been my sister's biggest cheerleader. We love each other dearly. Our relationship is obviously very complicated because I have had custody of her son. She does have a little resentment here and there, but like she tries very, very hard to be very thankful for the role that me and Lonnie have provided for her son. And she tries to be very thankful. We get along pretty good. We have a great life, but she's still, like Lonnie said, her maturity levels, probably 16, 17. She's very anxious. She's very nervous. All the firsts, you know, doing her driver's test. These are things that the four of us talking now did 20, 30 years ago, you know? So it's like,
yeah, and I still drive.
Like, yeah.
How old is she, Jamie?
She is going to be 37.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So let's do this. I'm looking at my clock and I'm really doing a good job of keeping up with the time. There's you guys, this is a monster complex situation, but you know what they say about Rome, right? It wasn't built overnight. I want to get back to Lonnie.
Yep.
And because our goal is learn some more or better communication for a situation like that. So Lonnie's done all the give you money. He ended up buying weed. Hayden did. Comes home, fills up his room. Lonnie comes in. Let's pick up the story there.
Okay, so I immediately called Jamie. They didn't even know I was in the house yet. I called Jamie, or she was at work, and I never call Jamie at work. I don't bother her. If anything, I'll message her, and when she gets to me, she gets to me. But I called, she didn't answer right away. I called again, she didn't answer right away. Think that put out the 911. She calls me and I told her, I really believe the boys are smoking weed in our house. She's like, what makes you think that? I'm like, because I'm getting woozy standing in the mudroom. So she goes, okay, well, I'm at work. I said, can you stall for a second and be on the phone so you can hear the conversation? Yes. I go up there, I knock on the door. He tries to ignore it, does all his normal stuff. Finally comes and unlocks the door and opens it. I go to walk, I could barely see them in the room. And I said, can you explain to me what's going on in here? And Hayden says nothing. I said, what have you guys been doing since you came home from the store 15 minutes ago?
All right.
Both of them, nothing. So I said, well, honestly, I can tell that you're not telling me the truth.
All right.
And I can smell it. I can see it. I can barely breathe in here. And I suggest that you get up and you give me what you have, every bit of it. And if you continue to lie, then the two of you, along with me, will dissect this room inch by inch until we find it. He gets up, he walks to his closet, he grabs a baggie. It's got organic weed in it. And I end up confiscating the rest of everything else. And I said to him, I asked you specifically not to lie to me. Well, let's start with this. when I first moved in and told them what type of person I am, I have 3 rules, major rules. Don't lie to me, don't steal from me or anyone in this household. And the third one, I can't even remember because we've been stuck on those 2 since I moved into the family.
Don't touch things
But
that aren't yours.
right, don't go and don't use something or touch something or manipulate it that's not yours without at least going to the owner of that object and talking to them first. Those
Okay.
are my 3 major rules. So I said to him, I go, you know, you totally fabricated to me when it's blatantly obvious. Okay. And you also smoked weed in my house. I don't want you doing it at all. You're not of age to do so. It is against the law for you to do so. And not only that, I forbade you from doing things in my home that we don't do. That's not what we do. And he just stood there and looked at me, and I said, and Bailey, if I had a car right now, I would take you home right now, but I'm going to contact your mom. And he just looked at me like deer in the headlights. I wasn't yelling at him. And I said, I want this room cleaned up. I want all the dishes out of here. I want all that stuff brought down. And the 2 of you leave this door open. Do not lock it. And I said, and we will discuss this as a family. Extended from that, Jamie and I networked, got a hold of their parents, which we've already met before. They're really great people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we love the family.
We love the family. I invited them over for dinner. They came. I ordered food. We sat down as 2 couples, two married people, discussed with them the dangers, the risks, the aftermath of something going wrong, et cetera, and that our plan is to involve the police with these persons who are selling drugs to kids in elementary and middle school and high school in the small country town that we live in. And their biggest focus was, well, they already know that you guys are doing that because they saw on social media that you snapshotted or you screenshotted, and we're going to get jumped. And Jason, Bailey's stepfather, and I looked right at both of them and said that there are natural consequences in life. And when you put yourself into street things and don't know what you're doing, and you know you're not supposed to, there are consequences. I mean, if you were a grown adult and you got busted doing a drug deal and you went in front of a judge and he was going to put you in jail, are you going to look at them and say, I'm going to get beat up in jail? And he's going to say, okay, well, we won't put you in jail. No, he's not. There's natural consequences to this. So if that happens, of course, we will, we will handle that when that time comes. But we are not going to listen to you say that and just sit by and talk our tails, because it's not just you 2, it's all the kids that you go to school with that are exposed to this, and it's got to stop. And we said that individually as families, they're going to discuss with Bailey what his punishments are. We're going to discuss with Hayden what his punishments are. We gave total love.
Yes.
His stepfather brought up God a few times. I said at my table, I said, I don't know where you are in your faith.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to push you away, but we are Christians, and we are not perfect Christians because there's no such thing except for Jesus. And I said, we are trying to work on ourselves biblically and everything else, and we are trying to do things by the Bible. And I would just like to explain to Bailey and Hayden that you are of age now where you need to be absorbing everything that's positive in your home to take with you when you go out into the world and create a family of your own. The actions that you're doing right now, they're not going to be good for your children. They're not going to be good for a spouse who is looking forward to you leading a family in the right way. And you're not going to be able to support your family if your focus is on this type of stuff instead of the things that you're supposed to be focused on in life. And that's how it went. And as far as the discipline for that, has been none yet.
Okay.
That's where I stand with that.
I'm gonna bring my wife into this before I give my opinion on it. What do you think about how he handled that?
Oh, I think it was a great way to handle it.
I'm gonna stand by her.
Yeah, say what do you specifically?
Well, I am sitting here listening to this thinking, I think, Lonnie, you're the man.
Yeah,
I think you handled it quite well.
me too. I really do.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not going to give you a bow, but thank you, because
I wouldn't see it
I'm
anyway.
just typically not the person to take total credit for something like that. It was a team effort between my wife and I.
That's right.
A lot of it was my thought process, because that's mostly how I go through life. But we are in these sessions with you because once all those things do not work, that's when I lose my mind.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying though is, I mean, you went up there and you handled it like, and I've learned this because believe me, I'm a pretty quick trigger sometimes.
You can be,
but it's after being pushed. Yeah. Or if it's just something
absolutely ridiculous.
Right. If it's just something like you can't be serious, it doesn't take me long, but usually it takes a while for me to get pushed over the edge before I will blow up.
That's exactly how I am.
Okay. Well, in a situation like this, that's one of those moments where you could have easily let the bomb explode. Yes. He's been warned, he's been told, and yet there he is again. So there goes my timer. What we're going to have to do is start establishing some boundaries, even more so. Let me shut this down now. It's talking to me. Okay. I've got a timer and then it closes up the ads. But it's hard to do it at this age, but it can be done. Now, Lonnie, we didn't get into the back and forth that you were talking about, that we were going to try to work on communicating, when he rolls his eyes or looks at the ceiling or looks at the floor, or,
right.
Shuts down everything.
Well, I kind of think this situation takes precedence because it was a situation that just happened. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's his punishment? What's the punishment for him right now with this?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Well, let me jump in really fast.
Yes.
Don't give it too much more time.
From my experience, I have 4 kids and I've parented totally different than John, and it's not been easy. They're all adults now, and I'm still dealing with stuff because of me not wanting to be too harsh, and I have a whole backstory, but yes, that is something that I would crack down ASAP, because he already, if he has no punishment yet, he already feels like he's got away with it. Yeah, he got fussed at a little bit. Everybody knows, blah, 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 but he's probably feeling, I've gotten away with it. It's gonna just go away and it'll be like any other time. And so I would
say by tomorrow.
Okay.
And I've not had to deal with that specifically, so I can't act like I know how to handle that or what the punishment should be, but he's blatantly, disobeying, and he's doing illegal stuff. Yes, let the cops come and talk with them once. Boy, I mean, I know he's been, I think you said he's maybe dealt with them, but.
Well, we discussed that with that family because Jamie's best friend, her husband is sheriff.
There you go.
And Bailey's mom, her brother is a state trooper. And I cracked a few jokes and said, you know what? During this time that you're going to be punished, we as adults are going to get together and we're going to go out and we're going to do something fun and the two of you are going to be home babysat by the authorities.
Let me ask you this, and you know
'Cause
what?
I had enough, and that's when my comedian side comes out.
Well, let me ask you this: does Hayden know these people?
He knows Brian. That's Jamie's best friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he know the state trooper?
No.
No.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Let me tell you what I did.
And vice versa for Bailey.
Yes.
Okay. This is what I did when I was married the second time to the one who just bailed because her son. Well, I had a friend in law enforcement that I had swing by the house and have a chat with him. Yeah. What? Who? What? Why is there a policeman here?
Exactly. So we flipped out.
I think that is a great idea, to be honest with you. I don't even remember who brought it up, but I've done it. And of course, they moved away and he ended up in jail, just like I said was going to happen. But I don't think there's a darn thing wrong with that. And I still encourage you. I'd love to talk to Hayden. I really would.
I'd love to talk to him.
I'd love to
We
talk
want
to
you
him.
to.
I wouldn't mind
Because
talking.
he does connect with people who are interested in him and have cool things about them, like yourself.
Yeah.
My nephew is, God, 7 foot tall, wide as could be. He could be a linebacker for the NFL. He loves video games. He's got long hair. He's like a grown kid, but he's a father and all that stuff. And Hayden loves him. He came to the house with me one day, and Hayden hadn't seen him in a while, and he literally cried and hugged him.
Aw.
So if you don't live in the home and you don't discipline him or set any rules for him, he loves you.
Well,
cool.
I would love to just chat with him and maybe kind of assist in an indirect way without him realizing it. Because I have a way to do things, and I just feel like God's given me abilities and I love using them. So that's something I don't want you guys to let go if you want to, which you said you did. But as far as that current situation, the good news is I think Lonnie and then Jamie getting on the phone and kind of being the teammate, no matter what, guys, unity is absolutely critical. And you guys bonded together.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm telling you what, it thrills me to death to hear you guys connecting like this with how Lonnie felt just like, wow, it was awesome. Jamie was right there with me, and Jamie's over here going, I am so proud of him. That is marriage. And let me tell you something, you can be married and not have a marriage. And what you guys just exhibited was a marriage. When nothing's going to get between you, you're sticking together.
We're going to celebrate tonight.
And you guys, listen, I don't know about your lives outside of what you've told me so far, but all I know, you're going to ruffle feathers. But if you're going to ruffle feathers, do it together. If you're going to do it together.
Exactly. We are going to ruffle feathers. I know we are, because we also did a Bible study with Hayden last night. We started a teen and parent Bible study, and
all right.
I mean, he was slightly receptive, not
God's word does not return void.
Yes. So, and we're going to continue to do that. I set up a little powerhouse messenger group for me and the whole family, and started sending things like the YouVersion Bible app. I asked everybody to download it. We're going to start doing family Bible studies. We're going to really start just putting God first in our home, period.
All right. Well, let me say this as we're winding down.
Yes.
It's 6:37. Again, off the rails, but in a good way. I say off the rails as in this is not typical. Because I want you to realize we do set goals, and we normally reach the goal, or at least come up with the goal, and then we put an action plan, and then we worry about all, and we go attack. We're going to get there eventually. This is just not normal. Saying that,
we have a lot of preliminary courses.
that's right.
Yeah.
We're in pretrial right now.
We are in pretrial. That's so
Yeah.
true.
But I want to say this, and I mean this. Tanya will tell you. I'll just ask her. And Tanya, tell the truth. Do I say anything I do not mean?
Oh, he does not fluff.
I cannot express, and I'm doing my best not to pull off the verse in John where it says Jesus wept. I'm trying not to do that. I cannot tell you guys how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
I am like cloud 30 proud.
Yes.
Because it's like that. I'm just going to say that. Just take it for what it's worth.
We listened to you.
Yes, I was just gonna say that you're what
Yeah,
you
we're
do
trusting you.
already. We just met you, and what you've done in such a short period of time has, at this moment, and I speak in those terms because, again, I don't trust situations, but in this moment has just changed so much about how we work together.
So we really appreciate you so much.
Well,
there's still so much more work to do.
Yep.
There's still many things that I see in this whole just the situation we just discussed. That and it's a prime example why in these sessions we're not attaining goals, is because it's a mirror image of our household. We don't get to attain goals because things continue to stay in the forefront.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And you know what? I just want to say two things quickly. I know we're winding down here. One, I think I just want to say to you, John, that I really took it to heart. I don't want to waste your time. I really want my marriage to get better. And I want all of us to have meaningful fellowship in Christ and really do this thing. I really do. So that, I hope so far we're showing that really is the case. We really want to work.
Doubt.
And that's the first thing. And the second thing is, Lonnie, maybe we can come up with right now, what do you think about the consequence for Hayden being no unsupervised social media for the time being, only that 2 hours a night that you were wanting?
Right. I think it's a little, I agree. And I also think it's deeper than that. I think, and we have butted heads with this from the beginning. Their social media time. First of all, I think Hayden should have a flip phone that has his top 5 and is controlled. He can't manipulate it.
Sound like John.
Okay. And then next, he shouldn't have a smartphone. He doesn't use it for anything smart. and we pay for it. I told you my best it comes out. I write my best material when I'm and then secondly, if it translates or it transforms into Tristan as far as his laziness, not being able to sleep, it has he can't sleep at night, etc., and it's all due to how much time they get on screen time, period. Whether it's a phone, a laptop, whatever. They have been instilled that, you can stay up till 11 o'clock. And then he comes, I want to stay up even longer. And I'm getting woken up before work so he can request more time. To try to put it short, I think it should be 2 hours in the evening after you have eaten dinner with your family, after you have, shown or put work in with God, your relationship with God. It also needs to be after you've cleaned up after yourself and made sure it was clean, and you've gotten yourself hygienically clean for bed and actually changed your clothes, and then you go and spend time playing video games or doing whatever. And then after that, you turn everything in. And on the weekends, there is no all-nighters. There is no, your
Mhm.
friends need to learn how to play good old-fashioned rummy and old maid and duck goose.
Yep.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Electronics, done before
Yeah.
we go to bed. Not their hour is set after we go to bed so that you can fall asleep and forget, and you got to set an alarm, and your sleep is disturbed. My sleep is disturbed. They stand there and beg for 3 hours. No, I feel like it should be instilled.
Okay.
That's my piece on it.
Yeah, I think those are good principles, and that's something to work with. I wish we had time to, because that's I've got
I know.
but you know, hey, here I am. One quick thing I wanted to say to you guys. You know, I'm thinking about Hayden. The boy's been abandoned. He's confused. He's got mom say doing it pretty much anything you want, but she's also teaching him how not to follow through, and there are no consequences, while you got you guys trying to be the responsible ones. So I'm going to encourage you guys to do what you're doing. I mean, I think you're doing, especially here, what you've told me recently. Like I said, I'm incredibly proud of you guys. But
Thank you.
Hayden, just say yes or no. Do you guys give him any type of words of affirmation, like Lonnie? I can see you walking past him, just kind of rubbing his head really fast and saying, "Love you, buddy," and just keep on walking. That's it. Just love you, buddy.
Sure have. We went
okay,
through
good.
a stint for a while where I didn't, because he gives nothing back. No conversation.
But
words,
that
no
doesn't
nothing.
matter.
And
yeah, that doesn't matter.
And I got to a point where I looked at him and said, "Listen, if you go and request right in front of my face that I am forbidden by every other adult in this house to talk to you, then fine."
Well, remember,
because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah, but remember, Lonnie, you're not doing it for something in return. This is about hating.
I know.
So when you do it, so do it again. Love you, buddy. Who cares?
Yeah.
If he rolls his eyes, who cares? If he thinks you're an idiot, who cares? That is nothing but a front to protect himself, because he's been abandoned. He doesn't know what being loved is like, except for you guys, but his mom is, we talked about it. So I want to encourage you guys to lift him up. If he does something, encourage him. Man, wow, Hayden, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he cleans his room, after you tell him to clean his room, don't look at it and say, "You better do what I say.
Done this better.
You better know your role."
No,
Hayden,
that's never.
I know. I'm being humorous. But instead of, at least give him some type of positive feedback.
Okay.
Because that's how you can love him as well. And the Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. Well, he's in a tangled web right now. So just lift him up. Give him something. Give him a reason to believe in himself.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
So, because, right now he probably doesn't. He's just looking to satisfy himself with something. He wants to be validated. And right now for him, validation is smoking weed with friends, because it's the cool thing to do. And that's another reason I want to talk to him. So just discipline, put your foot down. Don't give him the power, but also encourage that young man. He needs somebody to encourage him and believe in him.
Okay.
Right.
That's very fair. I like that.
In the very smallest things, the smallest things will mean the world. Something that he probably thinks, well, nobody will notice and say something about it. Because I've always been bad about noticing things, but not saying, just assuming that they knew that I'm thankful, but the small things matter. So,
well,
okay.
And one principal lesson about this. What did Jesus say that you could do to move a mountain? What did you have to have? The faith of a mustard seed.
Faith of a mustard seed.
Do you know how big a mustard seed is?
Pretty tiny.
It's about the size of a speck of pepper.
Just about. And it grows into a 15-foot bush. Small things matter. Whatever he does, don't overdo it to make it look fake, but whatever he does, anything you can find. If he just grabs his shoes and takes them out of the living room because he left them on the floor, thank you, Hayden. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome, I guess. He's not going to know how to.
I may not see that at first.
Yeah. So just anything. I'm just using that as a hypothetical, but the young man needs you guys. And hey, let
Yeah.
me just say this, and I'm done.
Yes. You
If-
gotta be.
Yes, if God did not think you all were capable, you would not be in this position.
I like that. That's a good way to look
And-
at it. We got to have
and-
the faith that we are the people that were chosen for him right now.
That's correct. And if he puts you there, you are able, and he will equip you.
Okay. I like that. Thank you.
You're
It's
welcome.
very encouraging.
You guys got this.
Thank you.
Now you guys go have fun tonight, whatever you do. Hopefully it's after the workshop. But Lonnie, I got your number. I want to text you, dude. Don't tell me anything. Just I hope you had a good night. That's it. Anniversary time. Woohoo! Raise the roof, baby. 1985.
Right?
That's funny.
All right,
Okay,
It's
guys.
on fire, let it burn.
Yes, we'll definitely be at the workshop. Lonnie might cut out a little early to go to bed, but
And I'll let
We will
everybody
be
know if he
there.
does. Yeah, that's great. That's
Okay.
great. Well, thank you guys.
yes, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Glory
we'll
to
see you in a
God.
minute.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.